Hi everybody, Professor Snart checking in as we get right down towards the end of our course. I've met with many of you as part of our student conference dates here, which ran from Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. People are still forming ideas. Other folks have really well built drafts, so kind of a wide mix here, but we want to sort of get everybody moving forward and kind of on the same page, especially as we get towards our next activity or unit for the course. So I'm recording this on Friday morning, which brings us up to the discussion board due date for Unit 10. It's pretty straightforward. It's kind of a follow-up from Unit 9 where you were proposing a very initial topic. So it's asking you to fill us in a little bit further on that topic. Hopefully you've made some progress. You have a really good sense of what primary texts you're going to use. Unit 10 is also asking you about secondary sources that you might have found so far. So hopefully you have all of that stuff in place and you can just post and give us a kind of update. If, however, you're still putting those pieces together, you can still post that and you can still get full credit for the discussion board as long as there's something substantial there, even if you feel like you're kind of having some problems or, like I said, you haven't quite put all those pieces together yet. This is a great opportunity to maybe pose some questions to your classmates. If you need a text to compare to the play, for example, if you're struggling to find a secondary source about a work or just need some ideas. So of course, as usual, we have that reply feature. So even if you don't have everything worked out, it's still important to complete the discussion board and ask some questions, and hopefully some of the feedback you get will be useful, or it might direct you to something specifically, or just kind of spark an idea that's the one that you needed to get the ball rolling on your own essay. So you'll notice that our final due date is down here in Unit 11 on Tuesday, May 10th. But as I've mentioned to everyone that I've met with, you want to kind of trick yourself into believing that Tuesday, May 3rd is really the date where you want to have a pretty complete, not necessarily totally polished essay, but fairly complete. So you've got all the pieces, the works cited is done. Even if there's things that you know you want to fix or some edits you want to do, work really hard to get something together for that date. So we have a peer exchange unit here that I'm just going to take us into. We have two different dates here. You want to post your essay to the discussion board that I'll show you in just a sec by Tuesday, May the 3rd. And then we're all set up in groups. You're going to provide feedback to all of your group members by Friday, May 6th. And that gives you a few days to turn around and make any changes to your essay. Contact me if some questions arose from the feedback that you got. And then, of course, set you up to submit that final polished essay on the 10th. So clearly, if we're here and you're just submitting an introduction, the feedback you get is not going to be very useful. And you've still got a lot of work to do, so you're kind of not using this time very effectively. And obviously, I, like everyone else in your group, will see what you submit. So again, it's a good indicator for me if you're really working and managing your time well, or if you're not. Let's say it that way. Okay, so let's take a look at our peer review unit. So if you've ever done peer review before, it can be really hit or miss. It can be a great opportunity to get feedback, or it can be just a kind of waste of time. And I've found that the most effective peer exchange is not when you just get into a group and kind of trade papers and then you read each other's and hope for the best. It's when we do a much more targeted activity, which is exactly how we're going to do our peer exchange. Okay, so you'll find yourself in a group here. They're relatively small, so if we take this first group, everyone in the group is going to post their essay just as a file, right? Don't just paste it in as a file to the discussion board here, just clicking into the peer exchange, by Tuesday. So that's that first posting date. And then by Friday, everybody else in the group, so if I'm Caitlin, I'm going to provide Nico and Brianna feedback on their essay by Friday. But again, as feedback, I'm not just writing them a paragraph or trying to mark up the document. Here's what we're doing. We're going to use this checklist that's prepared here as a separate file. So for each of your group members, so again, if I'm Caitlin, I'm going to have to use 2 of these files separately for each of my group members. And I'm just going to open it up here. So you're only going to see part of it because my screen is just partial. But it's a checklist. So as feedback, all you're having to do is fill in like a little X here. Or you could say yes or no. Something that makes it clear that, yeah, this is okay, or no, that there's gaps. So you're not having to like go through the document and make marginal comments. You don't have to write a big paragraph about it. We're looking for really targeted things. And of course, what we're looking for, and you'll notice just off the top of my screen, this is both a peer evaluation checklist, but also a self-evaluation checklist. So, you can kind of do your own as well. But what you'll notice is that all of these items are things that we've covered in the class. So this is sort of the equivalent of a study guide for our final test, which is of course that final essay. So things about the thesis statement, right? Avoiding the I voice, for example. Do we mention the primary readings, not the secondary, but the primary in the intro? Does each of our body paragraphs have a clear topic sentence supported by direct quotation? Quote from the secondary source. So again, all stuff that we've covered kind of repetitively in our course at this point. There's no surprises here. Simple conclusion and a basic edit for like typos and grammar kinds of things. So that's about it. So all you're having to do basically is fill out the checklist for each of the people. So what I would do, again, let's say I'm Caitlin in that group, I would fill out my checklist here. I might make a little comment at the end, especially if there were things missing, right? You can sort of type in the document. And then what I want to do is save that document as something like, feedback to Nico, feedback to Brianna, and then save it to my desktop, and then just post it back to the peer exchange within our group. So I'll go into here. So you'll notice that each of the groups has a thread. So I would, again, if I'm Caitlin, again, I'm going to go in by Tuesday, the first due date, and post my own essay. And then sometime before that Friday, the feedback deadline, I'm going to go in and post those files for both Nico and Brianna, the checklist file. What I might ask you to do here, and of course you're just replying to my empty post to get things going, is that when you do post, again, you're posting as a file, not just a bunch of text in here. And when you do the checklist response, you might then post something in here, just sort of like, I really liked your essay, or the intro seemed really effective. You could write a little sort of summary commentary in here. It doesn't need to be exhaustive, but it's really the checklist that I think is going to be most useful. Okay, so let's say I'm not now Caitlin, and it's after Friday, and I've got some feedback from my other two group members. Or, sorry, what did I say? Yeah, I am Caitlin again. Okay, now I've got feedback from my other two group members, and now I can compare those checklists. Do they all say basically the same thing? Are there differences? Is there maybe something missing that both of my readers noticed? And that's the thing that I can then focus on to sort of clean up. And maybe it means I just missed it, so then I fix it in my essay. Maybe it's pretty obvious. Maybe it's something that I'm a little confused about, and I'm not sure if my readers are correct or how to fix it or just how to proceed. And that's the point at which, as Caitlin, I would contact myself as Professor Snart and just say, both my readers thought or wondered about using a secondary source or my works cited or something, whatever it happens to be. And then we can fix that, again, looking kind of backwards to our due dates here. So we've just finished up that feedback piece. Now you have, again, those few days to make any changes, finally polish up that, that essay, make sure all the pieces are there, go through it one last time, and then submit it. And that's pretty much it for the course, all right? So we're down kind of to the crunch time here. It's really important to be making some progress forward, to aim for Tuesday, May 3rd as that final, or that due date for your fully put together essay so you can get some meaningful feedback. Again, like I said, if you're just posting an intro here, that checklist is not going to do you much good, right? Maybe there's stuff on the intro, but everything else is just going to be blank because it's not there. So it doesn't do you much good. And of course, if you're really staying on top of things, getting some good feedback, that sets you up for success for the final essay. It's a lot of points out of the course. That makes sense to me because we worked through all these things before. We're at the final assignment, not just for 1102, but really for like the 1101, 1102 whole composition sequence. And a lot of what we're doing is, again, things we've done before. And when it comes to something like MLA citation, we're just following existing models and examples, whether it's in-text stuff like we're showing here, or that sample page, so you're getting kind of the overall formatting correct. And again, I'm linking you directly to things that we're going to be using, whether it's material from our textbook or what most people are going to use for secondary sources, articles from databases. So I'm giving you the links here, just a matter of following those models and examples. All right, so do your best to manage your time effectively. I know it gets really busy towards the end of the semester because everything's wrapping up. Lots of other kind of demands on our time and stuff like that. And as always, if you have questions, especially after getting that feedback, but anytime before as well, by all means, be in touch with me.